Hello trade pros. In today's video, I'm going to share with you how institutional traders find support and resistances and how you could use this volume profile information to increase your trading strategy and profitability. Let's jump right into this video. First, we're going to take a look at how to actually put these volume profiles on TradingView. Now, in order to apply volume profiles on TradingView, you're going to have a pro level subscription or higher. If you sign up for the first time within your 30-day trial, you get a 50% discount and you pay less than $10 a month on an annualized basis. In addition to having the volume profile tools, you'll also be able to set up your template with a number of windows in one setup. Kind of like this. You're able to split your template into 3, 4, or numerous other ways in order for you to present your information the best way possible. So once you have the pro membership, you could actually apply these volume profiles, and the volume profiles on their own are well worth that subscription fee. If you would like to subscribe to the TradingView Pro charts, click the link in the description. We have a special link set up for you. Now let's look at this and apply the volume profile. First and foremost, we're starting with a 15-minute chart of Apple stock price. This volume profile works on any time frame less than 1 day. So what we want to do is go on indicators here, go into volume profile, and I'll walk you over the different options. My favorite is the session volume, and that's an amazing tool for trading on an intraday basis and setting up your swing trades even if you're a longer term trader. Now what you see here is the volume is now placed on a horizontal scale rather than at the bottom. Now one of the biggest importances and differences on horizontal volume is that this volume is actually based on price and it is not based on time. The problem with having time-based volume charts at the bottom is that while they work overall to see the movement of the trend, the volume on a horizontal scale tells you where there's institutional money or there's large blocks of volume that have traded, and more specifically at what price. This is very imperative when you're drawing a support and resistance level, and it can be super helpful to you. So this is why I really love volume profiles. It just plots it on a vertical scale, but it gives you a lot more information and a lot stronger support and resistance levels. Now let me explain to you what's on this chart and what you're looking at. So if you click the volume profile on TradingView, if you right click and go to format, you have a number of different things you could put in here. First and foremost, what we call as the value area is 70%, and that means where 70% of the volume has occurred. So as you can see, this volume is plotted individually for each session, and this is what we mean by session volume. So this is 1 day, and this is a following day. So when the market closes at the end of the trading day and reopens, you have a new volume profile that starts. Now you're able to kind of get a sense of where the volume occurred and around what price level the most volume traded for each session. When these levels line up, they paint a clear picture of support or resistance, and we'll take a look at that next after we explain all the different features of the volume profile here on TradingView. If you right click any part and go to format, you're able to go into the settings once again. Under style, what you could choose to have shown are a number of things. The point of control here, all this means is the single level at which the most amount of volume was traded. And if we remove everything else just to make it look clean for you, you can see when you remove the POC, there's no red line here, and the POC is just reflected as a red line that shows you where the single highest amount of volume occurred at what price for that session. Now, how is that an important level? Well, you'll notice some of these profiles are untraded, and let me just set that setting for you. So let me go format. One option you're definitely going to want to have checked off here on this point of control is going under inputs and saying extending point of control to the right. What this gives you is something called the naked point of control. The naked point of control is the level at which a previous day's highest volume node occurred, and it has not since been traded through. And the reason you want to know this is because they act as supports and resistances either way, on the way up or the way down. As you can see here on a previous session, this will be April 4th of 2018, Apple had a point of control that extended through, and it was called a naked point of control. Now we rallied a couple of days upward, followed by which we crashed right back down to this price, and we found support at this level. So these naked points of controls are lines that extend to the right that will at some point in the near future become very key levels of support and resistance. On the downside, if they're below the price, they act as support. On the upside, they act as resistance. They can act as really good targets for your trade or very good stop loss levels if you place stops below. They're like a magnet, and they'll tend to pull prices to that point of control. Now let's take a deeper look into what else the volume profile offers you for your trading. If we right click format and go into these settings and go back to style, there's a few other areas that you could add. Developing POC and developing value area, and I'll talk about that last. Right now, let's just jump in, and I want to explain to you the color coding that's used in these volume profiles. So what you'll notice here is that you have blue and purple volume, and then green and red as well. There is a difference between these two, and I'll explain it to you. When you go into the settings here, you'll notice that you put 70% as your value area volume. Well, the blue and purple just shows you the buying and selling in the 70% area. So everything that's blue and purple highlights where 70% of the entire volume occurred. That means 7 out of 10 contracts or shares that traded on Apple occurred between this range where the purple and blues highlighted, between 167.06 and 165.44, with the highest volume node of that day trading at 165.80. Now, how do you actually use this information? I'll show you a quick example of what we would do in this scenario using Apple. So first and foremost, we would start off doing our technical analysis. You could see Apple was a trade we shorted at 178 with a stop value of 179.52. And this is a trade that we openly share with our subscribers on our weekly newsletter. And we had an opportunity to make some very quick and accurate profits in this trade opportunity. Now on Apple, you might be saying, are we still going to be bearish? You can see momentum is still pointed bearish. We are at the moment at the 200-day moving average, so this will likely act as some temporary support, and we're going to bounce back up to look for a short opportunity. Now this is where the volume profiles come in handy. Before you jump into volume profiles, you want to know with your stock which way it's headed. You want to have a general idea with your other technical analysis which direction is going to go in, and then use volume profiles to clean up or identify an entry level. So on Apple, for example, what you could say is as price trades higher, it will likely take out this naked point of control that's sitting around 166.60, and the top resistance will be the top of that previous value area, which nicely lines up with the naked point of control. So what one could do here is grab a rectangle and highlight the top of the value area where the 70% was for the previous day and today's session point of control, which occurred near the top. And you could identify this as a low risk entry opportunity for a short Apple trade, or in this area, once price trades up here, you could put a conditional order to execute a put spread trade that you already have queued up. Another level that would make a lot of sense for price action to retrace to on Apple is right up here. And the reason this is because we have a naked point of control. First and foremost, we also have a large accumulation of volume, and we have some sideways chop. What this high volume means, and the reason you want to know why 70% of the volume is occurring at a certain price level, is because large traders, large block traders and institutional traders will be executing heavy volume. Wherever you're seeing institutional trades, you're going to see an accumulation of large orders because they tend to be bigger traders. This is a self-fulfilling prophecy, and wherever there's large volume, there's going to be big support, because on the way down, Apple might have dropped, but when we rally back up, this is the level at which institutional sold before, and that will act as resistance as the institutional traders sell even more and put supply pressure on the market to push it lower. So here are two levels on Apple that you could use with these volume profiles. Look for naked point of controls, look for top edges of the 70% volume profile area or the 70% value area, and look for opportunities to get into trades there. Another way to use this is knowing where there's thin volume. Wherever you see small amounts of volume, like in the chart above or in this little square, you'll notice that the price moved through very quickly. Small volume areas indicate a lack of trading there before. So what we typically do when we hit into a small volume area is we'll travel really quickly to the next high volume area. The way you could look at this is like stations. They're like bus stops or train stations, and what ends up happening is as price crosses one station of high volume and goes into thin volume or no liquidity, it'll travel to the next station. So you could use this, for example, for stop loss placement. If you were long in here, you could say below this level, I want to get stopped out because there is no volume. And if you're short on a trade here, you could say above 168, where you pretty much virtually have no volume, will be a good place to buy back your short or close out your put spread orders. So in this case, what you could do is get an opportunity to be short at that red zone and stop out above the value area on top. This is just a very brief introduction on how you use value areas, and I'll share one other tip with you for a shorter term trading strategy on using these value areas, but using a different tool of the volume profile that TradingView has to offer. Let's use Apple again. Let's go to the 5-minute chart and say that we're day trading Apple pretty aggressively. I'm going to delete these levels I drew. The one thing you want to see is how these value areas are developing. So what you could do is click the developing VA, and this is real-time volume analysis as the volume trades and as the price moved, where the 70% of volume was throughout the day. So when you look at these volume profiles, this is clearly 70% at the close of trading. But how do we form that value area throughout the day? This is where you get to see from the developing value area what it looked like. So one way you could use this is if price breaks below a value area as it's developing, you could use that as an opportunity to ride that trend. So it becomes similar to what a Bollinger Band does for technical analysis. It would ride down this developing value area, and you could place your stops if you're short, for example, here above the value area. The value area is a nice trending and moving tool that could help you trail stops and also help you pinpoint really precise entries. This is a brief introduction to what the volume profiles are like on TradingView. It is a pro feature, but they're well worth the money. Also, you have access to a 30-day trial, so you could try this out and see the difference it makes to your trading strategy. But I promise you, if you try this for 30 days, you will never go back to using any other tool. Volume profile is a must-have in every trader's toolkit. So go ahead and give it a try, and I'd love to hear from you guys. How are you liking these volume profiles, and how are you going to apply this to your trading strategy? All right, and there you have it. Now you know how to find levels where institutional traders and large orders have transacted, and how to use this information to find key support and resistance levels and implement that to your trading strategy to get an edge. Please like, comment, share, subscribe. We got a lot of awesome content coming your way. Thanks for tuning in. Until next time, manage your risk and trade like a trade pro. Take care and have a great day. Goodbye.